How are we? Welcome to the live stream. Welcome back to Simply Forex, the place where we do in-live market analysis. We look for trade ideas. I'm going to show you trades that I've already taken today as well. And we're going to take all of your questions as well, guys. All right, so don't go anywhere. Stay tuned for all of the above. I'm just going to load up the live chat because the editor is not here again. I know. He will be receiving his P45 in the morning. And yeah, that's the plan of attack, guys. So in-depth analysis, share my trade ideas, take a look at a couple of trades that I've already taken, and we're going to take as many of your questions as possible as well. What else are we going to do, guys? We are also going to take a quick look at the economic calendar, because although we don't have any big, well, there is big news really, guys. There's no big news for the US dollar, right, in half an hour, okay? But this could have an impact on some US dollar majors. Right, bear with me 1 second, guys. I can see my screen is not shared. Present, share screen, entire screen. Right, guys, I believe you can see my screen now. This is what happens when the editor is not here. Yes, you can. Good. Right. There we go. It is a live stream. There you go. So, yeah, we are going to take a quick look at the economic calendar. Like I said, guys, we do have this at 1/2 the hour. All right. So CPI coming out of Canada, which is important, obviously, for the Canadian dollar. And it just so happens that one of my trades that I am currently in is Canadian dollar, Japanese yen, right? So we're going to start here. I'm going to show you why I took this trade. But we're also going to look at these trades as well, guys. All right. So these are all the trades that I've taken since we last met. So we've got Brent crude oil, right? We took that on Friday. We'll understand how that played out. CAD yen, as you can see, entered this yesterday, and I'm still in it. This has been stuttering about more so than, you know, Parliament trying to make a decision. Bloody useless, not going anywhere. And there's also Euro Aussie dollar, which I'll take you through as well, and we hit TP with that one. All right, so that's everything we're going to look at, guys. And again, if you want all of my trade ideas as and when they happen, with entry, with stop loss, with take profit, then please come join our VIP Discord channel. So this is CAD yen, guys, right? So if you look at the day chart, right, price was basically at a weekly support level. Right, we was in this uptrend at that weekly support level on the day chart, and then price broke back down, right? Because as we know, flight to safeties was strong off the back of the tariffs, right? Then Trump introduced a 90-day pause. Then we got kapow, right? We saw loads of buying of CAD yen, basically flight to safety weakness, right? Yen became weak. And then since that, we've just seen, you know, buying candle, retrace, and then a buying candle. All right. And the idea is to potentially come all the way back up to these highs here, right? So when I entered the trade, this is what the day chart looked like, right? And then if we drop down to the H4 now, guys, so this is the back to the future button, right? All I'm looking for is a nice bullish H4 candle. So if we play it along, we had a nice gap up, right? But that is not a bullish candle. And then literally the next candle along, this was bullish enough for me, right? So started buying in here, stops below here. This was my target. Okay, so that's the trade that that I put in the VIP. Now, if we go back to real time, it's just done bloody nothing, right? Price is pretty much just range between here and here. Okay. Now, you know, what's really happening is this. It's a bit of a wedge with Canadian dollar, Japanese yen. So if I draw that there, right, and I drew this line here, this is a wedge, a triangle, whatever you want to call it. It really doesn't matter or bother me what you call it, but triangle makes sense, right? But yeah, price has just become absolutely crushed, right? And it has to go somewhere, all right? Now, my stop loss was down here, right? On the back of, you know, the fact that we've got CPI news coming out, I'm going to move I already have moved my stop loss up to here, right? Reducing my risk if the news does move against me. And then if it breaks out of this triangle to the upside, then happy days, right? This is my target. I'll let some profit run as well. So this is where we find ourselves with CAD yen, guys. Absolutely nothing bloody happening. But that CPI news should be the catalyst for us to break one way or the other. All right, so that is the first trade that we're going to look at. Let me have a quick drink of coffee in my favorite Liverpool FC mug. Also, guys, Liverpool won on Sunday. You'll be glad to know we beat the mighty Fulham. Yeah, so there you go. Oh, no, we didn't. We beat Christ. My memory's gone. Who did we beat? We beat West Ham. There we go. We lost to Fulham the other week. So yeah, there's CAD yen. I just want to show you the trades that I took, guys. So Euro, Aussie, dollar, and then we'll take as many of your questions as we can, guys. So don't be shy. Come say hello. Leave a question in the live chat, and we will look at that. Euro, Aussie, dollar. If we start with the day chart, we've just had so much selling pressure. Look at that candle, and then look at these wicks. Right, there is so much selling pressure up here. Right? You know, is Euro US dollar starting to weaken? And the answer is yes, right? It's obviously come down, right? And we've already hit target. But let me just show you on the H4 why we entered, right? So as you can see, we was in this uptrend, right? And Euro was super strong. This is the H4. We got that massive sell-off. We got a nice big retrace. And then this is where I found myself, right? We're in a downtrend. We're getting lower highs, lower lows, right? We're below the moving average 20, which also I like. And then yesterday, guys, very simply, we got this nice big bearish candle here. I started selling, put my stop above here, and then took price down to this 1.78 thousand level. All right, so we took some profit on that one. And the other trade was the oil trade that I was in. But that was last week. But these are the trades. Euro, Aussie dollar, close to profit today. And CAD yen, we are still in. So yeah, somebody please remind me when that CAD yen news, that CAD news comes out at 1/2 the hour, because it is very important for my trade. Right, let's see who we've got in the live chat. Brett, hola amigo, how are we? Subrosa, hi, how are you? Good morning, Tom. Pound New Zealand dollar. Okay, we'll take a look at that. Brett's thoughts on the indices, please, Tom. Certainly, Brett, we'll take a look at that. Hamed, how are you? And Brett also wants to look at gold. We'll take a look at that. Scott, yo, yo, yo. How are we all? Hope we're all well. Hope you had a nice weekend. I've got a bit of a gravelly voice, so I sound a little bit like Barry White today. Let's have a look at pound New Zealand dollar to start with. And let's start with the weekly chart, right? Let's do a top-down approach. Now, on the weekly chart, right, we are at a nice, potentially a nice area for buying, right? So there's the structure of the market. This is where we're at so far, right? We're above the moving average 20 as well, right? We're getting higher lows, higher highs. We are clearly in an uptrend, right? On the weekly chart. And, this area through here with the moving average 20 as well, this is not a bad area to look for buys normally, right? Normally I would be interested in buys here, but you know, the elephant in the room, it's not really, it is like an elephant in the room. It's very apparent. This great big bloody bearish candle, right? Now, it doesn't matter how much I like this level for buying. I simply do not want to buy into that candle, right? Simple as that. So pound New Zealand dollar, uptrend, buying opportunities, but we've got this massive bearish candle. So on the weekly chart, that's a bit of a no trade for me, okay? But let's carry on. Let's carry on the analysis. Let's go to the day chart. And on the day chart, right, price has broken down, okay? We were in this uptrend and then bang, right? This, when we broke that low there with this candle, okay? So that was Friday's candle. So we actually broke the daily structure. So you've got a weekly uptrend, a daily downtrend, okay? Straight away, there's a bit of conflict, right? And even if we do want to sell, we know this level here, even these lows here, we know this is a potentially good buying area on the weekly chart, right? So basically, I just don't want to touch pound New Zealand dollar, right? It's just not looking like a trade idea for me for that reason. Now, interestingly, guys, let's compare. May not be, it is interesting. Let's compare pound New Zealand dollar, right? I've just shown you weekly and daily on pound New Zealand dollar. Now let me show you pound Canadian dollar and how much of a more appealing trade this is, right? So weekly chart, same as pound New Zealand dollar, right? Clearly in an uptrend. We've retraced all the way to a really nice support level and the moving average 20, right? So a lot of similarities there with pound New Zealand dollar, right? We liked the level on the weekly chart, right? But the pound New Zealand candle was more bearish than Winnie the Pooh, right? Whereas this one, this candle has a nice wick at the bottom of that. That tells me buyers are there. Okay. Right. And I mean, just look how this has carried on. And look how pound New Zealand dollar hasn't. Right. So weekly, we want to buy like we did pound New Zealand dollar, right? But this candle is far more appealing than, let's go back to pound New Zealand dollar, far more appealing than that candle, right? Back to pound Canadian dollar, right? Bear with me if you're getting like seasickness because of all the changing of charts. Welcome to trading. And if we go to the day chart, for me, we have just had a fresh structure break on pound CAD, right? That for me there was the last lower high. So we've also had a nice big bullish candle that broke that high. And as we know on the weekly, there's all this room to move into, right? All the way back up to here. And this was actually a trade idea for today, but it just never retraced. And my target was going to be in here, right? Because this is previous support. It could become resistance. And we've got the moving average 20. So pound Canadian dollar today was a good buy trade idea, right? And I wanted to buy it. So there you go, guys. You know, just comparing pound New Zealand dollar and pound Canadian dollar, it's a bit of a no-brainer which one you would want to trade. So rather than focus on pound New Zealand dollar, keep going through all the currency pairs and you will find a better setup, right, with the pound pairs. And let me just talk to you about the H4 on pound CAD, because the problem is, right, there was, before today started, right, let's go back in time. Right, before today started, right, we were basically here. Now, if I got a nice retrace into here, right, moving average 20 catches up, we get a bullish candle, I would have been all over this, like all over it, right? Like I am when I get a roast dinner on a Sunday, right? It's not pretty, right? It's like feeding time at the zoo. I would be the same with this trade, right? If we got the retrace, a nice big bullish candle, I would look to take price back to this level, okay? But sometimes the market won't retrace. Bang, there you go, right? The trade idea was good, and pound Canadian dollar has been is going up nicely, but we just didn't get that entry in here back up to here. All right, and it'll be interesting to see how pound Canadian dollar acts in here today. So, and let me explain why that's so interesting, because on the weekly, right, there is no resistance here, right? The only piece of resistance is back up here on the weekly chart, right? So there's nothing stopping that coming back up to here and this 1.86 thousand level, right? There's nothing stopping that weekly chart. But on the day chart, there is clearly a level here, right? It was previous support. There is clearly a level here. So like I say, guys, it'll be really interesting to see what pound Canadian does here. Okay, we'll take a quick look at that, guys, right? Now, if pound Canadian dollar does this and keeps breaking this level, we can keep buying it. If it reacts here, then I'm less interested in buying it. CAD yen. Okay, let's take a quick look. Okay, so, I'll tell you what I don't want to see happen here, guys, right, is me get taken out of this trade before news even comes out, right? There's nothing more, like I have reduced my stop loss. Like I say, guys, my stop loss was down here. I've now pushed it up here, okay? But I at least want to see the news come out, right? Now, I've reduced my risk on CAD yen, right, as you should before news comes out, right? There wasn't any profit really to take before the news, so I've just reduced risk. But I at least want to see the news come out. If news comes out and it just takes me out, no problem. I've had a small loss, right? But if price whips in my direction, then great. Potentially we have, a nice trade on our hands. But I do not want this to whip down before news comes out, and then news just tears it off in an upward direction. That would be annoying. All right, but I don't think it will, right? We've still got 12 minutes before the news comes out. Let's see how this reacts. Yeah, so there you go, guys. That's pound New Zealand dollar and pound Canadian dollar. What else are we looking at? Brett was asking about the indices. Okay, we'll take a look at the indices, guys. We'll also take a look at gold. James, hello, James, wants to look at US dollar, Swiss franc. We'll take a look at that. Luigi, hi, how are you? Hamid has also got a question. We'll take a look at that as well. Okay, so lots to get through, guys. Let me have a sip of my coffee. Also, guys, while I have your attention, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, smash the notification button, and if everyone could please smash the like button. Thank you very much. Also, guys, if you haven't already, please come join our free Discord channel. It's free. You've got loads of traders in there sharing knowledge and ideas. So please come join our free Discord channel and our trading community. Also, if you would like to improve as a trader and you want access to our premium trading education, then please go check out our website, www.simply-forex.com. You can check out the complete Simply Forex course. We've also got the VIP Discord Trading Academy, and we have the mentorship program where I coach you one-on-one. So check all that out, guys. It's all on our website. The links are in the live chat. Also, guys, today's live stream is brought to you by Pepperstone. If you look above my head, if you sign up with Pepperstone today, a world-class broker that is compatible with TradingView, they will give you an essential TradingView subscription for free. And we will also give you free access to our VIP Discord channel, guys, right? It's a no-brainer. Come and sign with what the hell is happening here? Yeah, so please sign up for Pepperstone and benefit from that promo, guys. Right, we've got 10 minutes until news. CAD Yen, please give me until the news before you stop me out. Right, gold. Is it time to start shorting gold? It's difficult to sell gold, right? Just look at it, right? Look at that weekly candle, right? If I go back a week, right, we had this big bearish, and this is a weekly candle, guys, right? We had this big bearish weekly candle, okay? And I was, thinking we could take price back down to this level of support here. And that's pretty much what happened. But look at the reaction after that. My God. Gold just keeps going. Gold, like I've said before, is like a mythical unicorn of buyers, right? It just doesn't let up because everything fundamentally tells us to buy gold. And this is just fundamental news, right? It's almost like technicals have gone out the window, right? It's just uptrend, very little retrace, uptrend, bit of a retrace, uptrend, right? It just does not stop. And can I sell that candle? No, I cannot. Do I want to buy it? No, I cannot, because there's no value up here, right? If you're going to take one thing away from this live stream today, guys, that is trade from an area of value. That was value, right? Val. We're going to call it Val, like my auntie, right? But so value here, no. Value in here, yes, right? So I can't buy it, I can't sell it, really, gold at the moment. If we look at the day chart, everyone wants to buy gold, but you've got to, like I say, you've got to buy from an area of value. So if price retraces, potentially back to this last area, right, you can clearly see that was the last area of resistance, right? So when it retraces, this could become support. And I'd like to see the moving average 20 come up. So somewhere in this area here, I think you could start buying gold, right? There's value in there because we've got some room to move into back up to here. So, but buying gold up here, no. Selling it, again, nothing's telling me to sell it. The weekly candle is super duper bullish. And just look at these, right? These are all daily candles. That's not bearish. That's got more of a bottom wick, right? So just no trade with gold for me at the moment, right? But generally speaking, if you're going to do anything with gold, buy it, right? And also, guys, if you have any gold at home, just melt it down. Give a chunk about that big to your local jeweler, and you'll be a millionaire. Simple. A lot of people ask me how to become a millionaire. Go around, get gold, melt it down, sell it. There you go. Tip. That's my top advice for today. Right, what else are we looking at? James wants to look at US dollar Swiss franc. Okay, let's take a look at a US dollar pair. And US dollar Swiss franc, similar to gold, right? Super overextended, right? And I think this is a historic. Oh no, okay, we've got some room to move into. Right? I thought this was historic lows, but it's not, right? Okay, I think this was when the Swiss franc. No, it's not. It's okay, but it's not lows. But look, where would you aim for down here, right? But anyway, this is like gold, but the opposite direction. So exactly what I said on gold, I'm going to say here, right? It is clearly in a downtrend. But do you want to start selling down here? right? The answer is no. There's just no value whatsoever. I don't mean to keep prattling on about value, but it's so important, right? Like when you buy anything, right? If you buy a house, if I say the price of the house is $500,000, you don't want to pay $500,000, right? If you're going to buy a car and I tell you it's 100 grand, right? You don't want to buy the car for 100 grand. You want to buy it for 90, right? Value is the same with US dollar, Swiss franc. I don't want to sell it down here at this price. I want to sell it in here at this price, right? Value, so important. So simply no value, right? There's nothing I want to do with this pair, right? If it retraces even into here, it's still difficult for me to see to do anything with it, because look at the moving average 20, right? That's the mean. That is the mean of the market, the average, if you like. There's just no value in it. Okay. Now, if we go down to the day chart, again, in a downtrend, but super overextended. I don't want to sell it. If anything, I would trade the retrace, but there's nothing telling me to buy it. But if we got a candle like this, a big green candle like this, right, I would actually trade against trend and aim for this level here, the next piece of resistance, right? But we don't even have that. So I don't want to sell it. I don't want to buy it. But if we get a nice bullish candle at a very overextended area, I would consider buying that back up to here. So yeah, identical with gold, but just inversely correlated, guys. Right, what other questions have we got in the live chat? Anyone else to say hello to? Mark, how are you? Mark, I believe you are the newest VIP member. Welcome. James Pinhorn, good point. I'll stay out. You're welcome, James. But yeah, you need value, right? If you're going to trade, you need, if you buy or sell anything in life, whether it's gold, a car, a house, the euro, you need value, right? Right, what else are we looking at? Hamed's got a question here. Tom, I was wondering if you'd be willing to take a look at the dollar index for me. Hamed, no problemo. Hamed, how are you? Hope you're well. Let's take a look at the dollar index. Now, this is really interesting for me, right? Now, I've zoomed out, and this is the weekly chart. Let me have another sip of coffee because I have the roughest throat since the last time I gargled razor blades. My coffee's slightly cold now. Nothing worse than cold coffee. Although people drink iced lattes, and I think they're just maniacs. So there's this level through here, right? You can clearly see this has proven to be a very good level of support. And there is absolutely no coincidence whatsoever that that is at the $100 level, right? In fact, let me put a line right at the $100 level. Close enough, right? There's no coincidence because it's such a big psychological level, right? Now, looking at the weekly chart, right, we have this big weekly candle, and that has broken the 100 level, and it's broken these lows, but it hasn't broken this low here. So it's a real tricky, interesting situation, right? For that reason, the fact that it hasn't broken this low here, I'm not willing to sell it. Right? I'm not that I sell the dollar index, but you know what I mean. I'm not looking at US dollar strength weakness, right? I wouldn't sell the dollar index. And what's going to be really interesting for me, and we do have to wait a couple of weeks, right, is the monthly chart, right? Because on the monthly chart, right? There's that low I was talking about. But again, everything's holding at the $100 level. And it's going to be really interesting to see what this monthly candle does. Really interesting, right? Because, you know, that weekly candle is suggesting we sell US dollar, right? US dollar weakness. Now, if this monthly so let's say you did that. Let's say you traded the dollar index, right? And you sold the dollar Now, by the end of the month, if you had a candle, this isn't finished forming, but if you had a candle that looked like this, right? Not bad, one of my better candles. That's still red, right? But if you had a candle that looked like that, you would be thinking buy buy US dollar all day, right? We were in range, uptrend, retrace, bullish candle, buy. That's what you would be saying. Obviously, this is a very long-term view of the market, right? This is the monthly chart. But you would be saying buy it, right? So it's just this level is super interesting for me, and this $100 mark, right? And you know, if we go back to the day chart, it's kind of holding on, right? We haven't seen any follow through with this US dollar weakness, right? Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see even on the weekly candle if it starts closing back in here. So yeah, at a really interesting level right now, US dollar. If the US dollar, right, has been, it's just tricky to trade. You know, there's very conflicting signs at the moment, right? If I showed you the Aussie dollar, US dollar weekly chart, and I just showed you these two candles, you'll be like, Tom, what the hell is going on? And we know what's going on. Trump is going on. Tariffs are going on, right? And it's just getting some real weird fluctuations with the US dollar, right? You know, will these tariffs eventually make US dollar weak or strong? And it's all a bit of the unknown, right? But literally what a difference a week makes, right? If I went back 2 weeks ago and I said, I'm going to sell Aussie dollar, US dollar, and that means US dollar strength, you'd be like, oh yeah, Tom, totally get it. Yeah, good thinking, right? And then a week later, is this going to form? Right, let's just go back to real time. A week later, you'd be saying, Tom, are you a maniac selling Aussie dollar, US dollar? What's wrong with you? Right? And that's how, you know, that's how quickly the things are jumping up and down with Aussie dollar, US dollar. And it's not just Aussie dollar, US dollar. Let's take a look at pound US dollar, right? Again, we know pound and euro have been absolutely storming up, right? This is the weekly chart, bear in mind, right? And then we got this huge bearish wick. That would suggest a retrace, right? Potentially just down to the next piece of resistance, support, sorry, okay? And that's actually what happened, right? But look at that. Look at that reaction. So again, for the last 2 weeks, you've had these two candles. Yeah, the dollar is just difficult to trade at the moment, right? I can't, you know, I'm looking through my trades for the last week or so. I can't really remember a US dollar setup, right? So yeah, tread carefully with the US dollar at the moment, guys, right? Or the other cases, like we discussed with US dollar, Swiss franc, right? They're just super no value, right? US dollar yen, right? Super no value. There's no value. I want to sell US dollar yen, but there's no value. US dollar CAD's another one. Okay, maybe a bit more value with this one, right? But yeah, US dollar is tricky, guys. And actually US dollar yen, I like sells. This was actually a weekly trade idea. But you need a retrace, then come down. US dollar CAD was also a sell idea, right? From my weekly forecast. Okay, but again, we need a retrace and then we can come lower. So whether we get that or not, we shall see. But US dollar, yeah, tricky at the moment. Right, news has come out. Let's have a look at CAD yen. Okay, so I'm taken out, guys. I've been stopped out of this trade. Okay. So, you know, we can, without being like Sherlock Holmes, I'm going to suggest the CPI data was worse than expected, right? Call me Sherlock. Yeah, okay. So this one was very much worse than expected, right? CPI 0.3%. So that is a big miss, guys, right? With the Canadian dollar. And that's why you're seeing Canadian dollar weakness. Let's have a look at some US dollar pairs as well off the back of this news. But CAD weakness, I'm just going to check something here. Right, yeah, so we're knocked out of that trade. Okay. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, only a small loss on Canadian dollar, Japanese yen, guys, because we reduced the risk. What else are we going to look at? We're going to look at US dollar pairs. No reaction, really. Yeah, not big enough news. No reaction to that US dollar news. Let's have a look at pound US dollar. Yeah, very little reaction whatsoever. So yeah, just the CAD news. Let's see if that is across all CAD pairs. Yeah, right. CAD weakness, Euro CAD, CAD yen I was in. Let's have a look at pound CAD. Okay, CAD weakness, but not sustained as yet. What else? Let's have a look at CAD Swiss franc, because that has been dropping like a stone. Okay. Okay, that hasn't moved much at all. So that would suggest we're starting to see some Swiss franc weakness in the market. Let's have a look at Euro Swiss franc. Yeah, there you go. Right. Let's have a look at pound Swiss franc. Yeah, there you go. Let's have a look at US dollar Swiss franc. Okay. So, like I was saying with James, if we get with a lot of Swiss franc pairs, to be honest, any Swiss franc pair, right? New Zealand dollar. Actually, let's have a look at like Euro Swiss franc, right? If I start to see big bullish candles, I would trade the retrace, right? Pound Swiss franc. If we get a nice big bullish candle here, I will buy the retrace. Yeah, because I know there are good levels as well. If you look at the weekly chart, right, pound Swiss franc, interesting level. Euro Swiss franc, interesting level. What did we just look at? Canadian dollar Swiss franc, not an interesting level. That's dropping like a stone, but just very overextended, right? The market wants to do this, guys, right? Even if you've had a big sell-off like this, it still wants to retrace. People are going to take some profits and then it moves back down again. So we can trade that retrace. Yeah, so there you go, guys. That's what we're looking at. Okay, what else are we looking at? Hamed, you're welcome. Tom, I really appreciate that. Thank you. You're very welcome, Hamed. James, these things happen. Risk management equals successful trade. Yes, totally agree. What else are we looking at? Mark is looking at New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar. Okay, let's take a quick look at that. Before we do take a look at New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, smash the notification button, and please smash the like button, guys. Also, please come join our trading community. Come join our free Discord channel. It's free. Come join it. Also, guys, if you want to become a better trader, then please access our premium trading products, which include the Simply Forex Complete Trading course, the mentorship program where I coach you one-on-one, and the VIP Discord channel as well. All the information is on our website. Okay, so check that out as well. And don't forget Pepperstone. If you sign up with Pepperstone today or Swap Brokers, they will give you a free TradingView subscription, and we will give you access to the VIP Trading Academy. No brainer. Switch it. Switch it up. Boyakasha. Right, New Zealand CAD. Weekly chart. Right, it's important to put this in some... the way the charts are at the moment, you have to put these trades into context. And, you know, I've never found, you know, normally if I zoom in about this far, I have some context. But because these markets have been down to these like crazy lows, you have to zoom out massively to get some context, right? And the context is these lows over here. And you can see price reacted very bullishly at that level. But it's in a downtrend, right? This was in an uptrend. And then bang, we're in a downtrend. Okay. And this is where we find ourselves. Okay. We got lower lows. This is the last high. Now, because it's in a downtrend, it doesn't automatically mean I want to sell it. And far from it, right? Look at those candles. Look at this candle. Now, obviously, the weekly candle hasn't finished forming, but that is super bullish, right? So weekly's in a downtrend, but at an interesting, you know, once it comes up to here, it's an interesting weekly level. And if we go down to the day chart now, this could literally be after today's candle, which hasn't finished forming yet. This could be a fresh structure break, right? From being at all-time crazy, not all-time lows, but at crazy lows, look how quickly the market has retraced, right? In the space of a week, really, right? And if it breaks this high, that is actually a daily uptrend, right? So New Zealand CAD is very, very volatile, right? It's gone all the way down here, bang, all the way up here. Now, even if this candle broke this high, right? You know, chances are we can take price back up to the next piece of resistance. We could, right? It'll be a daily uptrend. If we get a nice bullish candle that finishes like this, please wait for the candle to finish. We could start buying it up to here, right? That would be one idea. If at this level we got a massive bearish reaction, we could potentially start selling it, right? Because this is still in a daily downtrend. So I'm not going to do anything with New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar until we see what happens here. If it breaks it, I think we have further to go. If we get a big bearish reaction, I think we're going to see a bit of a sell-off. Okay, not back down to here, but you could take some short sells. All right, guys. So yeah, guys, that's all we got time for. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, smash the notification button, and please smash the like button. And guys, please don't forget to join me same time again tomorrow, 8 a.m. EST, for more of the same. Get all your questions ready and we'll look at the charts. Have a great trading day and I'll see you later, guys. And bear with me because the editor's not here. I have to close this down myself. Okay, let's find where we're at. There we go. Adios.